Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Going Off Track podcast. I'm Catherine, that's Emily, and I think this episode is going to be a little bit unhinged because we are both way too overtired right now.
Never sleep deprived in the podcast. That's what I always say.
And yet, here we are. I have driven over 400 miles today between Arizona and California. You are on Mars.
I am on Mars. No, so I've been packing and moving since Friday. Sunday, I was still packing and moving. And then I had to get on a flight for 4 hours and fly for a work trip. And then I landed super late. And then my first meeting was, before anyone should ever be out of bed. And then I just got home and now I'm podcasting. So between Catherine and I, we've traversed the country and haven't slept.
Many, many miles. But let's get into it because this is one of our favorite race weekends of the year. And for all that I am exhausted and overtired and very hungry right now, I am very excited for this weekend in Singapore because this is going to be a really fun race weekend and I think could throw a lot of curveballs for the rest of the season.
Okay, so let's just pause and go off track here for a second, Catherine, because I want to almost snuff out our candles around Singapore. We say this all the time. It's one of our favorite races. We love Singapore. It's so exciting. But truly nothing happens in Singapore. It's never the best race, but there's always one thing that happens to where it's oh, that was such a good race.
Or was just something that was very notable that happened. You're right. Singapore is also very much a qualifying weekend. So if you don't qualify well, you're screwed. So it could be very interesting. It also could be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning for no reason. We will see on Sunday. It is Monday now, for the record. So we are a few days out and there will probably be some other news and things that are going to have happened. But we will get to those in the reaction episode if they're noteworthy.
We're not recording Wednesday because Emily has a team escape room.
Let's go.
Let's go. Devin screams, I'm a professional, like an escape room.
Amazing.
Honestly, though, all jokes aside, I'm actually really excited for the escape room.
It should be fun. Yeah.
I'm just really good at using my brain for random things.
I'm usually good at using my brain, but today...
I think today, Catherine, we may share half a brain, not even a full brain. This is a half brain episode.
Yes, exactly. So moving from the fun, haha, we are very tired to a little bit more subdued. Unfortunately, we did get some very sad news this morning.
I don't know if I can do this without crying because I'm sleep deprived.
I know. So very sad. Lewis Hamilton's beloved dog, Roscoe Hamilton, did pass away. He was hospitalized over the weekend for pneumonia. He was put in a coma, and Lewis did announce that he has passed. He is with Coco, his dog sibling, and we're just really sad about it alongside him.
Yeah, and even if you're newer to F1, you've seen Roscoe, you know who he is. He's, when he was younger, because he was older for an English bulldog.
Yeah.
But when he was younger, he was a mainstay, staple at every race, would travel all the time. So it's really sad. I had a feeling this was coming. I feel Lewis Hamilton is very dedicated to his obligations as, an athlete and dedicated to the team. And he had to pull out of the Ferrari fashion show at Milan Fashion Week was a really big deal, and so for him to do that, I figured it was pretty serious.
Yeah.
But I'm really sad.
Yeah.
He's such a cute boy.
Fortunately, Roscoe will live on in both his social media presence, all of the Roscoe-related memes, and also he is in the Formula One movie and is in the post-movie credits. So Roscoe Hamilton will be remembered. Most people will not recognize who he is if they're just coming straight into F1 through the F1 movie, but then we come here and they can be educated. But we are very sad alongside all of the pet lovers and pet owners of the Formula One world, because we both have pets who will one day do what Roscoe did.
Yeah, I have a senior citizen, and
you do.
It's sad. I think it's only right, Catherine, that we take a moment of silence for Roscoe.
Okay.
All right, you will be missed, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm
Good boy.
actually sad and emotional. I think it's sleep deprivation, but I'm also
Yeah.
thinking of my dog, and I'm just how can you go on? I'm sitting here thinking of my predictions. I'm well, Hamilton just won't even qualify. I don't know how he can go through with this. And it's
Honestly,
not as disrespect to him or Roscoe. I emotionally would not be able to handle it.
I honestly did not know if Lewis was was it in consideration of I can't race this weekend if there's a chance that Roscoe's gonna live? That type of
Oh,
decision must as somebody
I
who has
can't
had to
imagine.
as someone who has had to put a pet down right before a major long-term trip, not halfway across the world, like Lewis going from, wherever he was with Roscoe to Singapore. But I had to put a pet down before a big trip, and it was will they survive while I'm gone? Blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot. It's really a lot to think about. And so, obviously the commitment to driving for Ferrari is something that Lewis takes very seriously, but also, was there ever a question of if there was a chance for Roscoe to make it,
Would he have stayed? Yeah.
would it have stayed?
Well, and I think this is why I hate media these days too, because I've had to put a dog down before too, and it's such a traumatic, emotional thing.
Yeah.
And that's all people are gonna ask him about this weekend of how do you feel about this? And that's just reopening the wound.
Let him focus on the racing.
Let him race. Let's ask him racing questions. I know his head's not in it, but just not, and I'm not saying ignore it and be rude about it, but let's just acknowledge, move on, and let him get through and work through his grief. And
yeah, that will be very interesting, and I really do hope they do focus it on Ferrari's chances at success in Singapore rather than Roscoe. We are sad about Roscoe too.
I hope we all have a moment of silence at the race for him. I think it's deserved.
We'll see about that.
All right. Well, moving on to, maybe some more lighthearted news. I feel like we just went from 100 to 0 real quick.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go right back up.
Yeah.
The roller coaster that is our lives right now. So, this is absolutely hilarious. I think it's just such a fun little nugget. So, Max Verstappen, on his off week from being a Formula One driver, entered a GT3 race, and he won.
Yeah, this was his debut in this corner of endurance racing, and a lot of drivers on their week off are preparing for Singapore and the endurance of Singapore, and he just did some endurance racing in Germany instead. And Max wants to drive in every racing series he possibly can get his hands on. He wants to do a 24 hours race sooner rather than later, and Red Bull is being extremely accommodating in ways that they would not for many other drivers to let Max do this on his off weekend.
Well, I think it's also hey, let me do this or I'm leaving.
Also that.
He holds all the cards, and I'm pretty
sure
he
really does.
He's willing to throw them around and be hey man, I'm gonna do this. No? Okay, bye.
He's a 4-time world champion in Formula One. He has done what there is to do in Formula One. Yeah. And so Red Bull's obviously going to be happy to keep him for as long as humanly possible because he is their only point scorer, give or take 2 points from Yuki. But I just think it's hilarious. It's your week off and you're going to go in and drive a 4-hour race and okay, go off. And of course, the other part of this is he's driving in a Ferrari.
Which I love. I think that's so hilarious. But I also, some of this shit makes me give Max a little bit more credit and like him a little bit more. He doesn't have off weekends. There is no off weekend.
No.
It's all just race, drive, right? This is what he lives and breathes. And it's, not to say people are in it for the wrong reasons, but this is his life. This is all he knows. And his dad made sure of it. But this is literally what he wants to do and what he is doing. He's simming or he's racing or he's in a new racing car. Oh my gosh, it's insane. But good for him. I hope, I don't know if there's an accolade where you win a race in every single series that you possibly can, but if there's a specific accolade, that will go to Max.
I don't think it's ever been done by anyone. So I mean, we'll see what
Is IndyCar next? Like, what's gonna
Oh my
happen?
gosh. Yeah, is it IndyCar? Is he going to start rallying? Is he going to team up with like Carlos Sainz Sr. and start rallying in Dakar?
Are we gonna see him in NASCAR?
Probably not.
I'm done.
That would be funny. But
But
yeah,
anyways,
I think
Max
it's
is just driving off into the sunset in the Nürburgring.
like the part that I can't wrap my head around for obvious reasons because I'm tired and I'm hungry is like it's his week off.
You know what I can't stop thinking about? How shitty would it feel to be racing in GT3 or normally?
Yeah.
Like, that is your series. Max rolls up
Hi
2 weeks
guys.
after his first test on his off week and wins. Like, you have to feel so shitty about yourself of like, I've trained my whole life for this. He literally has done nothing and he wins.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's trained his whole life to race. Period. Like this is it's very different. But it's also just it's his life. Also, if you hear whimpering in the background, it is my mother's ancient dog. Speaking of old dogs, who is very excited that my mother has come home with dinner, because she was outside for all of 5 seconds, and Kona has a little bit of separation anxiety moments. But anyway, I am just amazed at what Max can and continues to do and how he will continue to be racing in his career as a Formula One driver and as a not Formula One driver. And who knows what series he will race in next.
I'm honestly excited to see what he does.
I am too. So here we go. But before we get to the other racing series, we do have to get to what is basically Max Verstappen's white whale, which is, of course, Singapore, a race that he has never won. And most notably is the only race that Red Bull did not win in 2023.
Carlos.
It was Carlos. Last year, obviously, the race was notable for being Danny Ricciardo's final Formula One race, which we've discussed this and we've kind of, ripped apart how they kind of went about announcing Danny, stepping away from Formula One and how it was the way that he wanted, but it wasn't really in a way that kind of respected his career, and how we all just felt a little weird about how it all went down. So I think that was really what Singapore is most known for in last year's race.
Like, I know, but it didn't like.
Well, for those of you who remember even less, and if I can get the words out of my mouth, mostly just go to the episode linked above because we talked about it in the reaction episode, and I think the episode following. So both of those are linked. But what happened was they didn't say anything. Danny came out on top. He got fastest lap. It was very exciting. And then we started making jokes about them getting rid of the fastest lap point, which they have since done. And then it wasn't till Monday where they're like, peace out, Danny. Welcome back to F1, Liam. And hi, Kona. And that was just kind of that. And there was no real opportunity for him to like have a farewell. And
he didn't want one.
He didn't want that, which is why it kind of just ends up being, okay, he didn't want it. But I remember that we did feel a little bit weird about just like the way it was very quick of like, Danny's out, Liam's in 15 minutes later. And it just, the way that happened.
Sad for him because like I know how much he like did want to return and like he did want to step away. He was convinced to come back. It didn't quite go his way. He got hurt right away. Like I think I was more so just sad, but I also think like after everything he's done for the Red Bull family, it was really nice of them to like let him go out on his terms of like stepping away quietly and like not having to go through the fanfare. Because I think going through all of that has to take an emotional toll too, of like having to do a whole parade and talk about it for a whole weekend. And so, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it from a different lens this year, but I think it was, respectful
even now,
of what he wanted.
it was what he wanted, which is like the most important part. But like even now, it's still like it's been a year, and there were still questions of like, has Danny officially retired? Because he never really said anything, and then he disappeared and kind of went off into the wilderness and started, doing some like, manly men stuff in nature. But and then finally, it's like, yes, I'm retired, and I'm also an ambassador for Ford now. Like there was that whole big hype leading up to the Ford announcement, and we're like, okay, so he's officially announcing he's retiring, but like we know he's like, this is not news.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's what he wanted. It's what he wanted. But like that was really the most. You are so loud, dog. That was really the most notable part of Singapore last season was the Danny of it all, and I think also just like the way that Formula One was able to like use that as a justification for getting rid of the fastest lap point, because Danny was not in the points and took fastest lap. And there were questions of like how much it could have potentially impacted Lando's chances at the
yeah, but
driver's
he's
title.
not like the first one to do that, because
No, everyone does it.
Right, like, because how many times did George like not be in the points or whatever, and he just went out on softs to get fastest lap, so like
No,
another person couldn't
you
get
know
the
who it
points
was. It was Botas. It was
That's what
Botas
it was
for
Bottas.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, not George. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that happened how many times? And I know other teams have done it too, so like it's not just that, but maybe that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
I feel like it was because like that was the thing that they're like, we don't want that to happen, and like we don't want people to take fastest lap out of somebody who's in the points. And we're all sitting here like, yes, fastest lap 9 times out of 10 is usually a driver in the points, but sometimes it's not. And it's I think that it's something that people will notice less and less, that it's not there, especially now since they still recognize the fastest lap, even though there's no point attached to it. Yeah. But I still sit in the camp of like, it hasn't hurt Formula One to get rid of it, but I still don't think that they should have.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, there's that.
All right, to get back on track for this year's Singapore Grand Prix, I feel like we will have a constructors champion after the end of the weekend.
I mean, there's no reason not. There are reasons for not to, but conceivably, with the car that has been provided to the McLaren drivers, they should be able to score 13 points, which is all they need. Like it is
Never
so much
say
easier.
Never,
I will not say never, because look at what happened in Baku. But in order for this to continue on to COTA, Mercedes has to outscore McLaren by 31 points, or Ferrari has to outscore McLaren by 35 points, both of which are mathematically possible. But if you think of 31 and 35 versus they need one podium finisher, one podium finisher and somebody else finishing in the points, that's so much easier than a McLaren or than a Mercedes 1-2 or a Ferrari 1-2.
Agreed.
So, and a convenient McLaren DNF and maybe another McLaren not scoring. So that is something that we are definitely going to be seeing. They will tie Red Bull's mark of clinching the Constructors' Championship with 6 races to go in the season, which there's not really a clinched fastest award because there's a record, because the calendar is so much longer now than it was in the days of yore, but it is significant.
Speaking of the championship points race, whatever.
Yes.
Something interesting coming out of Baku is Max's chances.
Yeah. He's so, not to say only 69 points back, because that's still one of I think it is the current greatest margin, which was, I think, 41 points in 2022 when Max was behind Charles Leclerc early on in the season. I believe it was 41 points. And that was when Max overcame that and won the title that year. That became the largest deficit that he had to overcome. Yeah. And so the thing is Max is still mathematically able to become champion. He has to basically win every race and every sprint going down the stretch, and also needs to have a couple convenient McLaren oopsie moments, which, as we have seen the last few races, is entirely possible. But unlike Zandvoort and Baku, which are very low downforce tracks, which the Red Bull obviously adapted very well to, Singapore is high downforce. So they're going to have to add a completely different setup. They're going to have to figure out something completely different. And also they're going to need Max to qualify on pole.
Yeah, because if you don't qualify on pole, you're not winning. That's just not how it works in Singapore, unless you have crazy safety cars and pit strategies like fall.
Or if you direct Nelson Piquet Jr. to crash on purpose to favor Fernando Alonso, as happened in 2008.
Or that. Yeah, qualifying is super, super important. Also, we're going to have some weather.
Potentially. Now, another caveat from this is it is still Monday. The weather could change, but we have a 35% of storms on Friday and a 50% chance of rain on Sunday. Now, there's more chances of rain currently earlier in the day than there is at race time, which is in the evenings. But considering what happened at Baku and the kind of surprise weather we did get at Baku 2 weeks ago, I will not count weather out on Sunday. And it is absolutely possible that we will have some weather assisted shenaniganery going into this whole weekend that will make things very, very interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is kind of exciting, and I hope really will help deliver us a Singapore that is notable for not just being a parade.
I'm excited for Singapore for next year when the cars get smaller and hopefully overtaking is more realistic. I think it'll be interesting if you have an overtaking situation in Singapore.
Yeah. Also, next year, Singapore will be a sprint, which will be a very interesting thing that we are going to have to deal with.
Yay, sprint weekends. Okay. With that, let's get into our predictions for this year's Grand Prix.
Yes.
Again, the podcast that only talks about years that are not the current year. Okay, so Catherine and I pick pole, podium, and P10 because it's fun and we try really hard. We give ourselves points, but generally
really
we don't,
bad at
we never pick them because we're horrible. I implore you to try because it is very, very difficult. Okay, so for pole, who do you have for the 2025 Singapore Grand Prix?
So as much as I do want to see, the continued Max dominance and more, fire in the flames of the Max can still win his 5th championship, I did pick Oscar. Oscar needs a win this weekend, both like morally and actually. And I think that he really was not thrilled with having to sit in Baku on a chair with a banana in his hand and a marshal's phone, which shout out to the marshals for like giving him snacks, giving him a phone to watch the race on while he posted up because he couldn't get back to the paddock without.
I honestly was waiting for his like sad boy photo shoot.
I mean, he was fortunately in a good place where he didn't have a sad man sand dune photo shoot like Charles Leclerc did a few races ago, which still iconic. But I'm pulling for Oscar. I want to see Oscar bounce back, get his head back. I hope he was just like in his own little bubble of like getting his head on straight with like his whatever type of therapist he has to like just be like, ignore everything, ignore your teammate, and just drive your race.
Yeah. So as much as I love and want it to be Oscar, I have a feeling that McLaren is going to start just sabotaging the crap out of him and forcing Lando down our throats. So I have Lando Norris.
All right, so for the first time in a couple of races, we were splitting the McLarens again.
Splitting the McLarens.
I want one more opportunity to give McLaren the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to do that, even though you and I both know that they are. Fine.
Speaking of splitting McLarens, I think podium is going to also split McLaren. So I have Lando, Max, Oscar. And I know that Max probably won't end up in P2, but I just have a feeling like McLaren are going to punish Oscar as much as possible, but like still get points for them as a team, but like force it that
like we're going to let you help us clinch, but we're not going to let you win because we still, as we've said, want Lando Norris to win the championship over you.
Yep.
As I've said, if Bernie Eccleston, who is 95 years old and doesn't know what planet he's on, if he can see this, then so can everyone else. My podium is a little bit of, I feel like aspirational and probably a little bit, banana pants. And I did think about going with some combination of Lando, Max, and Oscar, which is the current ham bot there. But I went with, what did I go with? I honestly didn't. There we go. I went with a Max win. Max is going to somehow overtake Oscar from pole. And then I have Oscar in P2. And I have, for Roscoe, a Lewis Hamilton P3.
I like it.
Yeah.
I just wish Hamilton could qualify better, because if he could, I think he would be on podium in Singapore, but I don't think he can qualify in the current Ferrari. But you never know. It's a different, it's different than the last few races. We'll see. We'll see.
So hopefully, wishful thinking, but
wishful thinking.
We'll see.
I love it. Love to see Catherine being positive for Lewis Hamilton.
Isn't that weird?
Even if it's only for Roscoe, but I feel the love, Catherine. I'm sure he does too. Okay, so P10, Catherine and I pick P10 because it is the last place on the grid where you get a point. They get 1 point for P10. We get 3 because it is so incredibly hard to pick this, especially with penalties. But going into Singapore, I was like, okay, who generally qualifies around P10? So I have Alex Albon.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty safe bet. He kind of, maybe not last week, but generally qualifies like P11, P10, P8, 9, 8, whatever. And I feel like that's kind of a solid one. Obviously, we always want Williams to do better, but
they did get a podium, so
they did.
Yeah. So my P10, I looked at last year's race results and was, thinking, who have I not really picked for a while, who was kind of in that vicinity. And I know that he's driving a completely different car compared to last year, but I am actually going with
Yuki?
Franco.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Yuki.
I'm going with Franco.
Franco
He did not.
Alpine?
I'm giving a lot of credit to the Alpine that it's probably incredibly undeserved, but Franco did well on this track. It is a track he is familiar with. So at the very least, I'm not picking
about the same Franco.
I mean, honestly, no, considering the Franco at Williams and the Franco at Alpine are two wildly different drivers.
Different people.
But I'm giving him a chance.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, now for biggest surprise and who we think is going to do a dumb or have a rough weekend. We just do these for fun. I'm just going to roll with my earlier comment. I think we're going to have a moment of silence for Roscoe.
Aww. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, and my big surprise is, oh my God, I swear I wrote these down. I remember them. And then I just forget them. I am so tired and so hungry. And as soon as we're done, I am going to eat dinner at 9 o'clock at night. But anyway, my big surprise is that McLaren lays another egg and is unable to clinch for the second weekend in a row.
I feel like, Kevin, that's a double of big surprise and who's going to do a dumb.
I mean, honestly, yes, though I do have a separate dumb, but it would be a very surprising dumb if McLaren cannot pull out 13 points.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we'll see.
So for mine who's gonna do a dumb, I don't mean this to in a bad way, but I have a feeling it's gonna be Max. I think getting P2 is fine, but I don't think he's gonna win. And I think he will just keep having to chase Singapore. And something's going to happen. Whether it's qualifying, something gets messed up, so there's a mistake in the race. It's going to be something small that takes away that chance for him.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. And this is Singapore, and this, like I said earlier, this is Max's white whale. So totally, completely possible. My other dumb that isn't the McLaren dumb is I think that Williams is not going to come off of Baku very well. I just feel like it's very difficult for these midfield and lower tier teams to string 2 good races in a row. Look at, Stake at Silverstone with Hulk, and then the week after was a nothing. So I think that we're going to have, Carlos P3 in Baku, and then Williams is going to have another not so great.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I don't want to do it, but it's just that's the vibe that I'm getting out of this weekend.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we would, not being words. We would not be doing any of you a service as podcasters if we did not talk about the most exciting part of the weekend, which is the F1 Academy race. So, Catherine, what is our F1 Academy update for this weekend?
So this is the second to last weekend. There are 4 races left. We have 2 reverse grid races that do not feature full points but feature full distance, and then 2 full points races that are the same length, and I still have problems with that. Kona, I need you, for the love of all that is holy, to calm down. I am almost done podcasting. She is having a moment, you guys. Anyway, the really big news is that F1 Academy is partnering with Hello Kitty for the finale in Vegas next month, including a 36-piece merch collection and a dedicated grandstand at the Vegas track at turns 3 and 4, which the prices for a full weekend of F1 are actually not terrible. That was the first thing I looked at. And I am not a person who wears colors very often, if ever. See, I am wearing black right now. If you are, not watching us on YouTube and you're just listening, but I really think all the merch that I've seen so far, including the sweatshirt that Susie Wolf was pictured wearing, is really, really cute, and I want it.
No, it's cute and fun. Like, it's not my vibe. I'm not a Hello Kitty girly. I never have been, but it is cute. And I like that they're getting their own merchandising opportunities, their own opportunities to be seen, more eyes, more money, more success. So I think it's
a dedicated grandstand is not something we would have seen out of F1 Academy last year or 2 years ago. So the continued growth is
great.
Is great, and it's also, I feel like it's exponential. It's building every year. We're seeing more and more. We're getting more big companies. We're getting, like, American Express is joined this year. Now we've got a massive international brand like Hello Kitty. We have a dedicated grandstand in Vegas. So this is going to be another really big moment in the history that is F1 Academy.
Yep, 100%. And then also, so going into this weekend, I like briefly saw it on some Instagram post, but someone is missing, right? Because there's been an injury.
Yeah, so Tag Heuer driver, she drives for High Tech, which is the team that hosts the wild card every year. Ava Agnostiadis, she is out for Singapore. She fractured her left foot. Very unfortunate that she's going to be missing this race weekend. Hopefully she will be back in action for Vegas in a month. You can recover from a fractured foot in a month. I don't know. It also, like, pushing I don't know. I think it might be tight. It's very unfortunate for her. We haven't seen much of her this season because she really has been, driving mostly with the back markers and outside of the points. But, she is still, she's got time to recover from this, and she will be replaced by Megan Bruce, who is one of the drivers who participated in the F1 Academy rookie test sessions last week in Spain. They did an F1 Academy test for the current drivers and also for 18 rookie drivers. She finished P2 in the evening session and P4 in the day section. So she pretty good, pretty positive. I really like that they have identified not just a handful of female drivers that could potentially come in next year, the year after, but 18 drivers is the amount of drivers that's the drivers on the current grid. So I think it's really exciting that we are seeing more and more drivers that are getting opportunities to both test in single seater open wheel and also to participate with the growth of the grid this year to 18.
100%. I love to see it. At first I was like, oh, that's kind of sad that they can only be in it for 2 years and then they get bounced out, but they get to, like, go to higher series, and then you have more, women coming up, more girls coming up. And it shows that this initiative is working. There's 18 new drivers ready to take the grid, or at least test to be on the grid. Like, that's huge. The W Series failed, right? And it looks like F1 Academy is actually growing. Susie, obviously Susie's not going to let it fail. But Susie's doing a great job of growing it and promoting driving for young women. So I think it's great. Super exciting. Yeah. Okay, so 4 races left. How are we in the standings for F1 Academy?
So it is still very, last year at about this point, we kind of knew, like, this was Abby Polling's championship to lose. Right now, it is a three-way. It's a little bit more than a three-way, but predominantly it is a three-way battle between Dorian Pon, who is driving for Mercedes in her second year, Maya Vuk, who's driving for Ferrari, also in her second year, and Chloe Chambers, who is driving for Red Bull Ford. They're all in their second year. Pon is in the lead with 127 points. Vug has 107 and Chambers has 93. Chambers is looking to bounce back after missing the full points race. Her car stalled out on the grid and they just couldn't get her to the starting point of the race, which is really unfortunate because she had qualified well and is still a contender. So she has some time, but we really need to make sure that her car is as reliable as she needs it to be in order for her to take it to these other two drivers and really give us something exciting to look forward to, because I really don't think that we are going to decide this championship until the second race in Vegas.
Whew, I know, this one's a tight one, which is exciting. I like when things are close.
Yeah, last year it was very much not close. And then the year before, there were also three drivers in the mix for the championship. It was a little bit, it was still pretty obvious who the front runner was, but there were still, I believe, three or four drivers who really had a solid chance. But these three drivers, Pon, Vug, and Chambers, they're really the ones. It's 10-1. It's going to be one of those three. And if it's not, it's because one of them is not available to drive.
Yeah. Well, we will see how everything goes in Singapore. Like Catherine said, it's our second to last race weekend. Their finale is in Vegas. We'll obviously have a recap for you in our recap episode from Singapore, which will be out on Monday. I'm super excited for this weekend. I can't wait to wake up super early, but we love Singapore.
Yes, 5 a.m.
But that is our Singapore prediction episode for the 2025 Singapore Grand Prix. Thanks for going out. Check with us, guys.